Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's Nathiyah session. Today we're joined by brother Sa'ad and brother Imran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Wa
wa
alaikum
barakatuh.
assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And today's Nathiyah session is going to be about the issue of working in places where alcohol or pork and other such things are sold. We received an email. We received many emails over the years. One of the most recent of which being from a sister, and there's one also from a brother. The sister said that she's been offered a job at Waitrose, and the job involves selling, dealing with, stacking on shelves, working on the till, whereby you're going to have to be dealing and processing alcohol, pork, other such things. And the brother, similar situation, except his one was cooperative, but the point still stands. Cooperative food store. Now. So the question is it permissible for me to work in a place such as this? Will my income be halal? And so on and so forth. So if one of you want to start, inshallah.
نعم أخي الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. Before the question is inshallah ta'ala answered, I think it's important that we gain a perspective of the seriousness of what alcohol is.
Okay.
And the reason I say it is because when you live in close contact with something that is so normal in society, you might forget or lose sight of how severe of a crime it is before Allah Azza wa Jal.
You become desensitized.
Yes.
Okay.
So inshallah ta'ala I have here with me a classic work by Imam al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, Kitab al-Kaba'ir. In this he mentions the major sins.
Okay.
And when he talks about the major sin, which is drinking khamr and intoxicants, he mentions a few evidences, and I'll only mention a few, which will inshallah ta'ala give you a good idea of how severe it is. So let's start off with the ayah that he brings from the Quran. This is the speech of Allah. When Allah Azza wa Jal says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe. And as we know, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, whenever you hear Allah saying, O you who believe, bring your ears close, because either Allah is going to command you something or prohibit you something. So Allah's talking to you if you're a believer right now. If you're not a believer, you can go and walk out the door. Allah's not addressing you. But to the believers, Allah said, إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ وَالْأَنصَابُ وَالْأَزْلَامُ رِجَزٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Allah mentioned that alcohol, alongside some other things, are from the abominations, from the works of shaitan. And then straight away Allah says, فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ, stay away from it. So this ayah, Allah left it general. Allah left the general dealing of alcohol, stay away from drinking it, from selling it, from supplying it, or whatever have you. Okay? Then the Shaykh, he mentioned something powerful, because remember, it's always good to go to the understanding of the Sahaba, because the Sahaba are the ones who understood these ayat and these verses the best. So Imam Dhahabi mentions, وَذَهَبَ Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma. And it came from Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn Khattab. What did he say? He said, أَنَّ الْخَمْرِ, verily the alcohol, أَكْبَرُ الْكَبَائِرِ, it's the worst of sins, from the most evil, the greatest of major sins.
He used the word akbar.
Akbar.
Sorry.
Then he said, وَهِيَ لَا رَيْبَ, and there is no doubt, أُمُّ الْخَبَائِث, that is the mother of all sins. Look how serious that is. There is no doubt it is the mother of all sins. And then we have many evidences from the Prophet ﷺ. For example, the Messenger ﷺ said, مَنْ شَرِبَ الْخَمْرَ فَجْلِدُوهُ, anyone who drinks alcohol, whip him, lash him. فَإِنْ شَرِبَهَا, if he goes back to it, فَجْلِدُوهُ, whip him. If he goes back to it again, whip him. And the Prophet said, if he goes back fourth time, فَقْتُلُوهُ, he's executed now. Now, of course, as a disclaimer, that doesn't mean anyone does any vigilante act and goes and starts executing, nor is anyone to be executed in this country. Just
There's
clarify.
conditions and...
Firstly, there's only talking about the Muslim lands where the Sharia is applied, so don't worry, it's not applied here. And even then, there is a process, or there's a due process in court, and it's not something that is taken to the hands of anyone, and so on and so forth. It's a very serious issue. And I can go on and on and on and on and on. It's a very serious issue.
Okay, so I agree with you. And I think from what is apparent that everyone who's asked the question also agrees with you. Alcohol is a very serious thing. It's not a joke. We agree. It's wrong. It's haram. And by the looks of it, I think that's not what they're trying to ask. But I think you already knew that. You just wanted to establish the seriousness of it. I don't think there's a single Muslim watching this who would dispute that alcohol is haram. To drink it is haram, no doubt. But that's the issue. you just quoted the evidences and they said shariba, to drink it is haram. And the question isn't can I drink alcohol? Is it permissible for me to drink alcohol? The question is, can I work in a place where alcohol is processed, where it's sold, where it's, when I'm going to be touching it, moving it around, selling it, stacking it, scanning it, whatever it may be. So are there any evidences in the religion that state that it is impermissible, it is haram to do these things, not to drink alcohol, to sell, to buy, to scan, any of this? And before either of you answer, just with all due respect, obviously, I know you guys are studying and everything, mashallah, I tend to ask with you guys also, but you guys aren't scholars.
Of course.
No doubt.
I wouldn't even call you students of knowledge.
No doubt.
You wouldn't call us students of
knowledge? Without a shadow of a doubt, Students of knowledge, someone, like, we have, Ustad Abu Abbas Naveed, etc., and, this Mufti Muhammad Munir, and these sort of people.
No doubt.
We see them as students of knowledge.
No doubt.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yourselves, when it comes to these sort of issues, we're in no position to talk.
Absolutely.
So, I would request from both of you to not give a single opinion from yourself. If you are going to say anything from this moment onwards, either give it from the Prophet ﷺ, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, or from a scholar who is certified and people know of, and Fadl, inshallah.
That's a deal. Because no one's going to argue with Allah or the Prophet.
No one's going to argue
I like that.
with the scholars. Fadl, inshallah.
So, okay, good. So the point you mentioned, Akhi, is correct. The whole time when you mentioned the evidences regarding to the sin pertaining to khamr, majority of the time everything was mentioned in regards to shariba in terms of drinking. So the question is there a textual evidence which is clear cut and it tells us that the dealings of khamr, buying it, selling it, carrying it, all of these kind of things, is there a hadith pertaining to that? And actually, if you go to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you'll find there are many hadith. There is a hadith which is mentioned in Sunan Abi Dawood. There's a hadith mentioned in Sunan Ibn Majah, in Imam Ahmad's Musnad, and the list goes on. But I have a hadith here in particular which is mentioned in the Sunan Abi Dawood that I want to read to you. And this will give you a perspective in regards to what else in regards to khamr is actually impermissible, what else in regards to alcohol is actually impermissible for us. So the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions here where he said la'ana Allahu al-khamra. The Prophet alayhi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he cursed la'ana. And what does la'ana mean?
Curse.
To be distant from the mercy of Allah
subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Meaning you're not going to receive his mercy.
You're not going to receive his mercy.
Meaning you're going to receive his punishment now.
Okay, so he said la'ana Allahu al-khamr. The first thing is khamr. The Prophet saying that Allah's cursed.
In its essence, alcohol, be that in its actual very essence is cursed. The thing. So
alcohol itself is cursed.
Exactly. So you need to know that if you're going
to
not
just drinking it itself.
Its essence.
So why are you gonna go? Why would you even want to handle and stack a cursed thing? If I should use this as a cursed omen, you touch it, the curse might come. Why would you want to touch a cursed essence?
I understand, but at the same time, it's still not quite
clear. The hadith
continues.
Oh, okay. The hadith continues. There's many more. Okay. So he said.
So before, there's 10 different things that the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam in this hadith. Sorry, he mentioned that alcohol is cursed from 10 different angles.
Okay.
From 10 different angles, alcohol is cursed. As the hadith of Sunan Ibn Majah mentions, the first angle from which alcohol is cursed is by its very essence.
Its
essence. So now there's 9 different angles from which it's cursed.
And this is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right?
And you said scholar, right?
Like I mentioned,
there's no scholar
going to us in the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, so we're taking his words for it.
And is it authentic?
No doubt.
No doubt. You guys can go out, you can check the chain if you really want to, check the sanad, see what the ulama have said, but the hadith is hasan, and it's sahih, sahahahu al-Albani, rahimahullah ta'ala. So the hadith carries on, la'ana Allahu al-khamara. First thing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he cursed khamr in and within itself. Second thing is, wa sharibaha, the one who drinks it.
Okay. So how many agree?
We all agree to that, okay? Wa sharibaha. Wa saqiyaha.
What does that mean?
Saqiyaha meaning the one who serves it. The one serves it and pours it. Okay? Like a waiter.
Okay.
That person, the la'an of Allah is upon that person as well. Okay?
Okay.
Wa ba'i'aha. Okay? The one who now sells it. Okay? The merchant, the one who's selling the alcohol, okay?
It's cursed.
It's cursed as well.
Okay.
Okay? And we're going to come back to this one in particular. Okay? So the one who sells it, the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon him as well. Wa mubta'aha. The one who buys it. Okay, the one who's buying it, the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon that person as well. وَعَاصِرَهَا. the one who actually squeezes and makes the alcohol.
Because you've got to squeeze it from the fruits, isn't it? The
Right?
grapes
From
and the
the
dates.
grapes and the dates you make, okay? In the factories, how it's
Okay.
made. The one who does that process, okay? That person is cursed as well.
That's understandable.
وَمُعْتَصِرَهَا, the one who it is squeezed for, the one who it is produced for, okay?
Okay.
So not the one who's now doing it, that person's cursed, but also for the one that you're doing it. So for example, say I'm the factory maker, I'm the one that's squeezing it, and you're the one that wants to supply. If I'm squeezing it for you, both me and you are cursed.
Okay,
Okay?
understandable.
The one who's doing it,
Supply
exactly, okay? وَحَامِلَهَا, the one who carries it, okay?
Well, even the guy who carries it.
Pay
The one
attention.
who carries
Just because you're carrying it, akhi, that is enough for you to receive a curse.
Okay?
Wait, so the Prophet said that even the person who carries it.
The one who carries the
Hadith is
alcohol.
right there, akhi. Sunnah Abi Dawud.
وَحَامِلَهَا.
Authentic, Sahih.
Okay? But
Narrations
no,
in
we'll,
Tirmidhi,
we'll go into
Ibn
detail
Majah.
regarding its explanation and what have the ulama have to say in regards to وَحَامِلَهَا. But the one who carries it. And the last one was وَالْمَحْمُولَةَ إِلَيْهِ, the one who it is carried for. Okay? The one who it is carried for. So method, I'll give an example. Me and you are friends, okay? And you're carrying a whole crate of alcohol for me, okay? You're carrying it, you're getting the curse.
I'm not even
And
going
you're-
to drink it. I know it's haram. I know you're
carrying
being
it.
wrong. Even
and
if I'm
the one-
advising you saying it's
and you're
haram,
carrying it for me.
because I'm carrying it for you. I'm just carrying it. That's it.
Carrying it. Okay? So these are now, specifically in this hadith actually, this is summarized for you, okay? These are all the different things that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that the curse of Allah is with khamr and the way that it's used and produced and carried around.
Okay.
So can I just add, yeah, because when you bring one of the things that we do with the ahadith of the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, and you know, you only really get these benefits from ulama of hadith and ahl hadith. They'll bring the different narrations together because one narration might mention something that another narration didn't have. So the narration that he mentioned Sunan Abi Dawud, Sunan Tirmidhi, the same hadith, the narration mentions something extra.
Okay.
So the Prophet ﷺ, if I just mention it, then I'll tell you what the extra thing is. The Messenger ﷺ said, and this is narrated by Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu anhu. So the Prophet said, لَعَنَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. Sorry, Anas ibn Malik said that the Prophet ﷺ, لَعَنَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم في الخمر عشرة. The Prophet cursed khamr in 10 different ways, okay? He cursed the one who squeezes it. وَمُعْتَصِرَهَا, the one who squeezes for. وَشَارِبَهَا, the one who drinks it. وَحَامِلَهَا, again, the one who carries it, right? وَالْمَحْمُولَةَ إِلَيْهِ, the one who is carried for. وَسَاقِيَهَا, the one who serves it. وَبَائِعَهَا, the one who sells it. Now pay attention. وَآكِلَ ثَمَنِهَا, the one who eats its profits. The one who eats the money that's made from it. Of its wages. So you might, you're not making it, you're not drinking it, you're not carrying it, but you're taking money
From the Prophet's made on the alcohol.
You're benefiting from, you're eating the wealth of it. So that also falls under the cursed. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, وَالْمُشْتَرِيَ لَهَا, the one who sells it, وَالْمُشْتَرَاتَ لَهُ, sorry, the one who buys it, and the one for who it is bought. Hey, you might not even buy it for yourself, I'm buying it for someone else. Because you know some Muslims, what they do is, you know, astaghfirullah, they'll buy for maybe their professor, or because they know that they're kuffar, they'll buy them alcohol. No, even for them. And now some people might be here.
I've got a question, sorry, before you carry on. Okay, so you bought hadith of the Prophet, it's authentic, I agree. But my question is, who understood this hadith
Exactly.
the way you guys are
Exactly.
understanding it?
So that's what I was going to say. The first, if you go right here to the book that I just quoted, it's hadith from Sunan al-Tirmidhi. Okay, this book has an explanation. Okay, the best explanation of Sunan al-Tirmidhi is by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdurrahman al-Mubarak Furi. Okay, who happens to be a scholar from the subcontinent. He's one of us. Rahimahullah. Okay, and as we know, the scholars of hadith. Okay. The stronghold of ilm al-hadith is where? In the subcontinent. Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and those neighboring
So they
regions.
even call this was Ahl al-Hadith.
Al-hadithi wal-athar. Okay? So, look what he said. This is, wallah, it's so powerful. Okay? He mentioned, because someone might argue and say, listen, bro, I'm not selling it. The Prophet said the one who sells it. The one who sells it, the curse of Allah is upon him. Okay? But I'm just scanning it, as some would say, right? I'm literally just at
Yeah,
the...
that's what the question said. I'm not selling it. I'm just
Scanning it.
scan it, bag it, give it to them.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Are you carrying it?
Yes.
Okay, the hadith mentioned carry.
Wow.
So as you can see, actually, you're already following under the curse of Allah just by virtue of the fact that you're carrying, okay? But let's just, for argument's sake, say, let's come back to this issue of the scanning, yeah?
Yeah, because they're saying that they're just scanning it.
Okay,
They're not
so,
actually
so
doing
you
it.
have to ask yourself the question, why are they using that as an argument in the first place? Because they're trying to say, look, bro, I'm not selling it. I'm scanning it for Tesco or Waitrose or whatever company. In other words, I'm selling it on behalf of them. This in Arabic is called wikala. Wikala, that someone does something on your behalf. The person trying to say, I'm just a wakil. Okay?
It's the middleman, basically.
A middleman,
Middleman,
exactly.
basically,
Okay?
yeah.
That's why, like in Urdu, we say wakil. Wakil is what?
A lawyer.
Lawyer, because the lawyer goes to court on your behalf and he fights your case on your behalf, so it's called a wakil. Okay? So the Arabic word wikala is someone who's doing something on your behalf. Saying, but I'm just
And the lawyer, he's not held to account
He's
for
not-
what you've done.
Exactly.
But regardless, he still is the one
Exactly,
fighting the
exactly.
case.
So coming back to this point right here, she's saying, look, sisters might argue, but I'm just beeping. I'm just a wakil. I'm selling on behalf. I'm not actually selling it myself. So again, look what Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abd al-Rahman al-Mubarak Furi. Is he going to struggle to find a scholar of hadith who's greater than him alive today in the world? Okay? And his explanation of this book. So what did he say? When the Prophet ﷺ said, وَبَائِعَهَا, the one who sells it is cursed, he mentioned the one who actually sells it, وَلَوْ كَانَ وَكِيلًا, even if he is a wakil, even if you sell it on behalf of someone,
You still come under it.
you still come under a curse. Again, you said you wanted scholars. I'm giving you the understanding of ulama who spent their entire life skipping through, serving and skimming and scanning and studying and explaining the speech of the Messenger ﷺ.
So it's not a young jacket.
It's not a young jahil at all. It's not a
Old
person who doesn't know the
respected
Arabic
scholar.
language. It's a person who very much knows the Arabic language. And he has clearly made it, said to وَلَوْ كَانَ وَكِيلًا. Okay? But again, like I said, different riwayat benefit different things, same different explanations benefit different things. So Sa'ad right here has an explanation by Sheikh Ibn
So here
Raslan.
I have the Sharh on Sunan Abi Dawood by Ibn Raslan. And it's not Sheikh Saeed Raslan, this is Ibn Raslan, who is the student of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the author of the famous kitab Fath al-Bari.
Oh, so he's not a temporary scholar. This
No.
scholar is about 700 years
Good.
old.
So he is the student of the one who authored the greatest explanation on Sahih Bukhari. Okay, so we're bound to find some sort of gems inside of this. Okay,
I'll take his word, no problem.
the Shaykh he basically mentioned on the issue of carrying. Okay, so hamilaha and the one who it is carried for. Okay, he mentions that what enters into this meaning, right, is the one who is present when it's being drunk. Okay, so when the khamr is being drunk, okay, the one
Depends
who,
upon him as well.
the one who is present there, and he doesn't stop to do anything, he doesn't stop this person, that individual, okay?
Okay.
The one who is writes down the transaction that took place. So the trading that just took place of alcohol, the one who writes it down. Okay?
The receipt, in other
The
words.
receipt, in other words, okay?
And it's because nowadays they put your name in the receipts as well.
Oh, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
a cashier.
it's cashier,
Tiller,
the one who opens the
it has the
cashier
name.
has the name there, okay? So the one who did the transaction, the one who writes it down, that person. وَشَاهِدُ عَلَيْهِ, the one who is a
Witnessing.
witness upon it as well. The one who's witnessing that taking place.
Curses upon him. as
Okay, the curse is upon that individual as well. And from that he also adds on and he says what also enters this is every single person who aids in this haram. Any single aid that will come that would allow the person to indulge in this haram, whether it be the one who actually carries it, the one who sells it, the one who buys it, whoever takes part. And in aiding this haram taking place,
In any way, shape, or form.
in any way, shape or form, the curse is also on that person. So, as he explained, right, the issue of the one who's just working there and all you're doing is scanning, the curse is going to come under you as well. The prohibition of you working and indulging in any shape or form in the alcohol, in the khamr, the curse will be upon that individual as well. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And just to add, this is playing with words, akhi. That a person scanning, oh, he's not selling, he's just scanning. That's playing. This is exactly. This is what Shaitan did, akhi. When Shaitan came to Adam and Hawa, salamun alayhima, what did he say? The forbidden tree which Allah told him not to go near, he called it Shajaratul Khuld.
Allahu Akbar.
It is the tree of eternity. He changed the name. Shaitan does that. Whenever Shaitan wants you to do a haram, he'll change the name of the haram to something nice. This is one of his tricks and his tactics. And that's why you find, because Allah mentioned that Shaitan, he sends revelation to his allies. Okay? So you find the drug dealers, are they not the allies of Shaitan? So they are, right? So the words like cocaine and crack and heroin, what do they say? This is food. Is food good?
Change it.
Is food good?
No.
Food is good. But
Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Oh, I thought you meant weed.
yeah, food is good, but they give something bad a good name.
Yeah, that's what I
Do you see?
interpreted.
Is
Yeah.
homosexuality bad? It's an
course.
immoral act,
Mhm.
but they call it what?
Gay.
Gay.
Yeah,
Gay means what?
happy.
Happy.
Yeah.
You see? Not just that. Fornication. What is that? Is that bad?
Yeah, of course.
But what do they call it?
Making
love. Yeah.
Bro, making love. I'm sleeping with her. It's innocent. I'm sleeping with her. You see? And also, this is what. And also, for example, this interest of university loans. People say what? It's investment. It's investment. And investment sounds nice. Because it doesn't sound like riba. This is why when Ustad Abdul Rahman, he called up the mashayikh and the ulama to ask him about this university loan. This is a fatwa shaytaniyah. This is a satanic verdict. Why? Because shaitan changes the name of something bad to something good. And to say this is not buying, this is not selling, it's just scanning. Beep, beep. And that's changing the name.
I was saying, even if it wasn't scanning,
It's okay.
it wouldn't come under carrying,
Carrying,
aiding.
Aiding.
Okay, and that's the point in it, yeah. Like we have a principle in our religion, okay, which is الاجتهاد في مورد النص.
جميل.
Okay, this is a powerful
جميل.
principle that truly people haven't understood.
So what does
Okay?
that mean?
It basically means, right, that when there is a clear text in front of you, okay, when there is a clear textual evidence in front of you, right, there is no room for
Independent reason.
independent reasoning, okay, using your rationale and your logic, okay, to say no, it means this, or the ruling's like this because of your logic or anything like that. No, your logic goes out of the window when a textual evidence is right in front of you. Now, whatever word you want to may call it, this or that, akhi, if you're carrying it, you're under it. If you're making profit, you're under it. If you're selling it and you're a wakil on your behalf, you're under the la'na of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
This isn't from you, this is from those scholars you mentioned, Sheikh Mubarak Furi.
Akhi, it's not even from us, it's from the Prophet alayhi salatu
Sallallahu
wasalam.
alayhi
It's from
wasallam.
his words, okay?
Subhanallah.
And all the scholars are doing, they're just clarifying in the meaning, okay? And we take the understanding, why? Because, like you mentioned, right, we're not scholars.
Okay, but
And
we're not
that's
students
just
of
basic
knowledge.
usul al-fiqh. Yeah?
I was gonna say, I've got a question, because what if someone comes and says, okay, no, look, you know what, bro? Allah says in the Quran, fail as much as you can.
Okay.
For me, this is like, you know, I have to kind of, you know, like,
فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ.
there's leeway, you know. Allah wouldn't bear a soul more than He can
لا
burden.
يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها.
If I need to work to support my family, and I have to work in this place, I'm fearing Allah as much as I can. I'm trying my best, but, you know, I can't really help it. What do you say to that?
Okay, so look.
At least remember, this is a specific situation, so surely it requires specific.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this in
Evidence.
two ways. Okay.
Okay,
Number one, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ is an evidence
I agree.
that is general.
So general
It's
evidence.
a general evidence.
Okay.
That is a general evidence. And when you have a specific evidence and a general evidence, which one takes precedence?
Specific.
Specific. I'll give another example. Yeah, the Prophet ﷺ said in Sunan Tirmidhi that every eye is a fornicating eye.
He said every eye.
Every eye. Does that include the Prophet's eye?
Subhanallah.
A'udhu billah. No, of course not, because we have an ijma' that the Prophets are ma'soom, that they're free from sins, that they're infallible in this regard. Do you see? So we have a general evidence, but we have a specific evidence. The specific will sometimes you make general statements, and then sometimes you specify them and say, but there's an exception right here. So there's exceptions to generalizations. Do you see?
Usul al-fiqh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ is a general.
Okay, so that's the general evidence.
That's general. That's
Okay, it makes sense, because that you can apply it to pretty much
Right.
anything.
Everything.
But then that evidence has now become specific. Here,
Okay,
the Prophet
so when
specifically
the Prophet
said anyone who carries act.
okay.
How specific can you get? Anyone who carries, anyone that sells, anyone that buys,
so that
anyone who is carried for,
that
anyone
general evidence kind of doesn't really apply here anymore, just because
We
now
have a
specific
specific
evidence has come and
and
said clearly that you can't
and-
touch.
And honestly, Akhi, this is
alcohol.
why I really encourage people to look into this science of usul al-fiqh. But this is basics. Anyone who even sniffed, this science, would know this. That this is a specific statement. And a specific statement always takes precedence over a general statement. So I would recommend people, inshallah ta'ala, to maybe, look at books like Al-Waraqat or Ibn
Risalat
Uthaymeen,
al-Latifa.
which is even easier. Risalat al-Latifa
It's
by
like,
Sheikh Abdurrahman
that's
Nasir
like a
Sa'di.
baby book.
It's a baby book. And I think our beloved Ustad Abdul Wahid Stevenson has a translation of Al-Waraqat,
Yeah, he
which you
does.
could benefit from.
Okay, so that book, mashallah, is a very, very nice little book. He has the Arabic and the English, right?
And
Yeah.
he puts nice footnotes at the
It's
bottom.
very nice, simple
Explain it
to
for you.
understand. Mashallah, may Allah preserve him.
I mean,
But brother, like, what if someone turns around and says, bro, look, for me this is a necessity, I have to put food on the table, I need a job, I have to make money for my family, otherwise what are we going to do? Surely for me there's an exception, because this is a necessity, this is a specific situation for me. Is there any leeway for that?
So, that really right now is the only argument they could put.
Possibly. That's the only real thing that's...
Because look, when you look at this hadith, it's locked off every door to khamr, to alcohol. Buying it, selling it, carrying it, witnessing it, writing the receipt. It's locked off every door to dealing with alcohol. Do you see? So, the only argument they could potentially, hypothetically, use is it's a necessity for me.
Just like, for example, you can drink alcohol when there's a necessity.
When there's a necessity, okay? For example, you're in the desert and you're about to die, okay? And you need to survive. You're gonna die. So what do you do now? The lesser of two evils is to drink the alcohol in order for you to survive, right? But even then, it's not unrestricted like that.
Okay.
You are not allowed to, in that situation, drink more than that which you need.
Okay.
So a person can't find a pint of lager in the desert, he's dying, and be like, oh, no, just a sip, if that's enough, or 2 sips, whatever, that will just keep you going and prevent you from dying. Do you see? And this principle that we're talking about is summed up by Sheikh Abdurrahman Nasir Sa'di. If you don't know, get to know, is the teacher of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, where he said, وَلَيْسَ وَاجِبٌ بِالْاقْتِدَارِ وَلَا مُحَرَّمٌ مَعَ الضِّرَارِ وَكُلُّ مَحْضُرٍ مَعَ الضَّرُورَةِ بِقَدْرِ مَا تَحْتَاجُهُ الضَّرُورَةِ. It's summarized. And again, we'll link the people to Ustad Abdurrahman's explanation of this inshallah at the bottom.
Inshallah.
It's an amazing, just about 49 line poetry, and explains qawaid al-fiqhiyya and a lot of the things they can benefit from, inshallah, in the link below. But the question that we need to ask ourselves, is this a necessity? That's the question. If it was a necessity, like your family was going to die if you didn't sell alcohol, maybe you could have a chance. Maybe you could have a case. Maybe. That, if you don't feed them, they're dead. And this is the only way. You have no other option but this. So, let's ask, does it fall into that category? Well, you see, akhi, necessity has to fill 2 conditions.
Okay.
For you to say this is a necessity. 2
3
prime.
conditions.
You can say 3 as well. You can say 3. That's like, but
2 main ones.
2 main conditions.
Main
We'll mention the
Because
third as well. We'll mention the third as well. The first one is that there has to be a serious harm that's going to reach you if you don't do this haram.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
The second thing is there cannot be any other alternative. For example, I'm in the desert. If I don't drink this alcohol, is a harm going to come to me?
You're gonna die.
I'm going to die. That's a harm, right? Good.
There's alternatives.
But there's the alternatives.
No.
There's no alternative.
Sand.
If I can find some water there, am I going to drink it?
The water, yeah.
Yeah. Can I say, I'm in the desert, I'm going to die, there's water, there's this?
No.
What if the water is like, did you see what I'm saying?
If the water's a mile away, you still have to try and get
As
to
long
the
as you can
water.
get to it.
You can get
You
to
see what I'm
it.
saying?
Even if it's hard, it's
Even
going
if
to be
it's
hard
hard.
for you. You're going to struggle.
Yeah.
But if you can get to it, then
Exactly.
you can't take that alcohol.
Exactly.
Not if there's no possibility
Exactly.
whatsoever
So,
of doing
akhi,
anything else.
in this country, living in the UK and living in America and the West, you can definitely find jobs that are halal. Fully halal. Yeah? Some people say, oh, nothing's really halal. Excuse me, I don't know what world we're living in.
There's many jobs out there, there's many businesses, many companies, many things that you could do which is all fully halal for you to make an income from.
Furthermore, you cannot even work and the government will pay your bills for you.
You mean job seekers
Job
allowance?
Job seekers allowance, housing benefits.
It's not an ideal situation. No
It's
one
not.
wants to
Of
give
course
benefits,
not.
but
I'd
it's an
rather do that
alternative.
than go to alcohol.
It's an alternative.
Look at this, right? There's one brother that I know, okay? He's mashallah, the brother's married, okay? He's got wives.
How old is he firstly?
I think he's
He was 18 at the time he got married.
He's been 18 for the last 3 years.
No,
Man.
no, no.
He's 18. He's 18. He's 18.
No,
Alhamdulillah.
he's 19 now. I think he's 19.
No, he's 18.
Oh, he's still 18?
He's 18.
Okay, what's
He's
up?
got wives. Okay. He's got
How many wives do you have?
He's got
2 wives.
He's got a child. He's got another one on the way. Okay?
So he's got 2 wives. He's 18 year old brother, 2 wives.
Listen.
A child-
Each wife has their own, lives in a separate place. Okay, their own house.
And he
basically.
supports his family, his
Okay,
mom
and
and
he
his dad.
supports his own parents. Okay, actually, the brother, he works like 3-4 different jobs.
Halal,
Okay.
all of them, by the way.
All of them halal. Okay, the brother studies the religion. He seeks knowledge.
He's at nearly every single class we do.
Every class is
Every class. And the brother chills. He's got time to chill, play games, go out, eat food,
Go to the
sports, go gym, everything.
play cricket, play football.
All of that. So when I hear a person that says that, oh, I'm unable to find a job, my parents, my family, I got to put food on the table, where am I? Wallahi, it's possible. Wallahi, it's possible. People are doing it right in front of us. We see examples in our life of people doing it.
It's hard, but
It's hard.
You
It
can never
comes
say
with a
there's
struggle.
no other alternative.
You can be, like, for example, a bin man. And they get paid nicely as well.
Yeah, they get
Is
paid
there anything
well.
haram about that job? It's actually you're benefiting the community. You're cleaning up rubbish.
From the streets, right?
And you could be a bus driver. I'm just giving you like worst
But
case.
there
I'm
are
just
possibilities.
there's possibilities.
And we
Okay.
know that Allah
can't think of
subhanahu wa
anyone
ta'ala,
really.
we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make ways for He'll find openings for you.
Yes.
For places that you will never ever imagine. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Anybody that has taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him an opening.
ويرزقه من حيث لا يحتسب. He'll provide for you from ways and avenues you never imagine.
Okay, so, wow, subhanAllah. Okay, the issue seems pretty clear now, right? You've got the Prophet ﷺ who's clearly saying from all these 10 angles, it's a clear hadith, it's authentic, the alcohol, the one who buys it, sells it, deals with it, etc. It's haram. You've got these great scholars who have come explain this hadith and said, look, it includes the one who aids.
And just want to say, finding scholars on the face of this earth today compared to these ulama,
you're going to struggle.
you're going to struggle. And these ulama who are alive today will tell you themselves about these men.
Okay, so that aspect's been covered, and none of it was from yourselves. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy, I'm content. It wasn't from yourselves, it was from these scholars. The issue of darura, necessity, it has to be, but there's no other alternative. So if you think you can go to Allah on the Day of Judgment and say, Allah, there was not a single other alternative for me, I had to take this job, I had no other choice. You think you can do that in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment and He'll accept that from you, and you know in your heart that is true? That's up to you. But there's one more question I want to ask you guys before we finish off, right?
Just the point that you mentioned, right? The other thing is, like, if the matter is doubtful to you and you don't feel comfortable to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment like that, then stay away from it. The Prophet ﷺ told us, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبَهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. Anybody that goes into the doubtful matters, that person is going to eventually end up doing something which is haram. Okay, he's closer to the boundaries of haram than the one who actually stayed away from the doubtful matters completely. So if you're not brave enough to stand in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment and say, yeah, Allah had to do this job and necessity, blah blah blah, and maybe it wasn't even necessity for you, then that's between you and
What was the
Allah.
quote of, was it Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu that Ustad mentioned in his Muqaddimat
Imam Bukhari mentioned it. معلقاً.
in Kitab al-Iman at the beginning?
Yeah, he said, لا يبلغ العبد حقيقة التقوى, that the slave will not reach to the reality of consciousness and piety and fear of Allah until he leaves off that which makes his heart question, like suspect. Is it haram? I don't know. Leave that off. Sometimes the fact that you're asking a question is proof that you know it's haram. Are you going to ask me, is it permissible to get married? No, because you know it's halal. You're asking me, is it permissible to sell alcohol? Because deep down you know there's something dodgy about it. So Ibn Umar said, you're not going to reach the reality of piety and taqwa unless you leave off all those matters that make you question.
Okay, so alhamdulillah, I think it's been dealt with very, very well so far. Just one last question I want to ask you guys here. So we've discussed the issue of darura and that it's only if there's no other alternative. Let's say for argument's sake, yeah, that there is no other alternative for argument's sake, and the person has to take it, and someone was to ask, and then for you to respond to them, tell them, okay, look, in this specific situation, you've clearly exhausted all different avenues. For you, specifically for you only, and for you only, it is in that case, okay, fine, you can do it. is it wise? Is it hikmah to broadcast that specific fatwa for that specific situation, for that specific individual who has got a valid reason to the general mass, to the general public? Or is it better to do that privately and just, keep quiet for the sake of Allah in that particular regard, because you're now giving a specific ruling to the general mass, who are then obviously going to turn around and say, oh, that applies to me as well.
Yes, they're going to apply
to me as well. So
that's a very good question.
What's the point behind that?
That's a very good question. This is something we discussed with Abdurrahman a lot, and something that he tells us is from the manners and the etiquettes of the ulama when they give fatwa and so on and so forth, is that they're very careful to not publicize things that people could take advantage of. Because let's just say there is a hypothetical specific scenario where a person is like, I have to sell this alcohol, otherwise my family's going to drop dead, my kids are going to die, and I've got no other way. They would never publicly say it, because they know, a guy who runs an off license might be like, oh, it's just scanning. Beep. Oh, okay, I can do this. Oh, wait, majority of the jobs are haram in the UK. Oh, okay, well, I'm under that, I'm in the UK. Do you see? So they would never do that. That's why Imam Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah, and the fatwa, he was asked, you know,
read it out?
You can read it out, inshallah ta'ala.
So Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala was asked, what about the brothers who are Americans themselves and face difficulties, or who cannot find any work except with these people, who cannot find any work except with these people, in a place that sells alcohol and pork?
So they're trying to say it's a necessity.
It's a necessity. What about his money that he earns from this work? So he, the Shaykh, rahimahullah, replied, the money that he earns from this work is haram. Because when Allah forbids something, He also forbids its price, as the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ states. What the Muslims must do is help one another and find work for this man by means of which he may earn a living.
Exactly.
So the Shaykh quite
So you see,
unequivocally...
they're mentioning publicly asking about necessity. He's saying, nah, stay away from it. And that's from the hikmah of the ulama.
Still looks haram.
That's from the hikmah of the ulama. These are the ulama. These are the scholars, and so on and so forth. As Ibn Baz rahimahullah scholars, and so on and so forth. As Ibn Baz rahimahullah's fatwa on the issue of selling alcohol, engaging in the production of it, and for example, the one who works in a factory, Ibn Baz rahimahullah, I'm sure we'd all agree, is a very respectable, reputable alim. And we should also refer back to him. So on and so forth.
Okay, so I think
before you, Clara, I just have to kind of bring the issue home, Akhi. You really have to ponder, man. Why are we living in a day and age where the religion is being played around like this, man? And you've got people passing fatwa saying alcohol, it's just beeping it. You're just scanning it. To justify its selling. You've got people who are living in a day and age where they are making permissible music. You've got people who are making permissible free mixing. Men and women, it's okay, You've got people who are passing fatwa saying that you can have anal sex, when we know the hadith on this are clear. People who are saying you can do university loan, there's riba and interest, you can take it. Akhi, why is this happening? And who are these people who are passing this? And I've mentioned this many times, and perhaps
just to clarify, people aren't saying that it's riba, you can take it. They're saying, oh look, it's not your riba at all.
They're saying it's investment. So exactly, they're changing. Exactly what Shaitan did.
They're not saying it is a riba,
right,
and you can't take a riba.
Because that's what they do. They're doing what Shaitan did. Shaitan changed the name. Yeah? Because they know if they come out and say, oh, it's a riba, it's permissible, no one's going to accept it. So they change the name to try and justify it. But the thing is, you have to really ask yourself, why is this happening? And what it comes back down to is the hadith of the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, when he said, سَتَفْتَرِقُ أُمَّتِي عَلَى 73 فِرْقَةٍ, that my ummah will divide into 73 sects. كُلَّهَا فِي النَّارِ, all of them are going to be in the hellfire, except for one. They asked, who is going to be the one that's saved? And the Messenger said, مَا أَنَا عَلَيَّ وَأَصْحَابِي, the one who is upon what I'm upon and what my sahaba are upon. So, what you find is that these people are from one of those 72 sects. One of those 72 sects. Which sect is it that they're from? They are from the sect known as Ikhwanul Muslimin, who is Ikhwan al-Muslimin and what do they believe? That's a big topic.
Wasn't it Muflisin?
You can call them, yeah, Sheikh Muqbil.
Oh,
He still called them Ikhwan al-Muflisin.
okay, they actually called that.
No, they call it Ikhwan al-Muslimin, yeah. But Ikhwan al-Muflisin is a name that's more befitting for them because they are bankrupt. But what is it they believe? The discussion is big, but specifically in relation to what we're discussing here, one of the things that they believe is that you can do da'wah by any means necessary. So in other words, you want the people to be filled up in the masjid, right? Right? So you can say men and women, you can sit next to each other, come to our Islamic event. You want people to do X, Y, Z, oh, university not permissible.
The ends justify the means.
The ends justify the means. Okay, so they'll sit around and say, listen guys, people are not practicing because the religion is too hard. So let's make it a bit easy. The ends justify the means. Instead of saying you can't sell alcohol, let's just say you're scanning it. It's making it easy, right? And they try to find like loopholes and things like that. And wallahi, this is what they do. They are known, because of this, they want to the ends justify the means. They are known to make haram halal. They're known to do this. And this is a characteristic of the Christians and the Jews. And this is an act of kufr and shirk. And we're not saying that these people are necessarily upon kufr and shirk, but I'm saying they're resembling the people who are upon kufr and shirk. They're resembling them. Because when Allah said, اتَّخَذُوا أَحْبَارَهُمْ وَرُهْبَانَهُمْ أَرْبَابًا مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ, Allah said that they took their rabbis as gods. And then the Prophet said, how? How did they take them as gods? Because they turned what Allah made halal and they made it haram, and what Allah made haram, they made it halal. And this is what they're known to do, akhi. One of their main leaders, if you look at all of these people who pass these kind of fatwas, yeah? Who's one of their main guys that they look up to? It's a man called Yusuf al-Qardawi. Yusuf al-Qardawi, akhi, wrote a book called Halal and Haram. Akhi, in this book, he mentioned anal sex is halal. He mentioned this is halal, music is halal, masturbation, what is it? Halal. Akhi, Sheikh Saleh Fawzan, when he refuted this book,
it should be called halal or halal.
He said it should be called halal and halal. He didn't mention any haram. Do you see? And Sheikh Al-Albani also refuted it. So, akhi, this is what these people are upon, man. And that's why they will say, let's work with the Shia, let's work with the Sufis, let's work with the grave worshippers. Ends justify the means. So I will have unity upon falsehood if it brings me and you together, and I will refute the person who wants to, quote a Tawheed, just because for me the ends justify the means here.
Okay,
so that's the underlying issue right here. They are not from Ahlul Sunnah. They are mubtadi'.
Okay, so I think the issue has been tackled, very, very simply, very, very clearly. First of all, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ was brought, in which he clearly stated that the one who carries it, the one who sells it, etc., the curse of Allah is upon all of them, or rather, in some narrations, he himself cursed them. Then, two mountains in the science of hadith, Sheikh Mubarak Furi and Sheikh Ibn Raslan, their understanding of the hadith, what they took from it, what they understood from it, was brought forth to you. I don't think you can really. I don't see much room for anyone to come and disagree or put forth a different argument. But let's say even if someone was to now come put forth another argument, it's not befitting that the statement of the Messenger ﷺ is brought to you and you say, no, I want to stick to my shaykh, or I want to stick to so and so. Rather, we don't take emotions and we don't take our love for someone, with all due respect. When issues like this occur and you've got clear-cut hadith or ayat which are known as nas, we don't take the sayings of people over these hadith. So just to leave you guys on that note, inshallah, the risk talk by brother Imran ibn Mansour will be down below for those of you who might be in a situation where you're looking for work and you're not sure, how am I going to get my, how am I going to earn, how am I going to
If you want to understand, Allah and how He provides, and don't worry, there is a way out. There is a way out. If you want to understand that, inshallah ta'ala, just watch the rizq video. I mentioned some
We'll
things.
put the link in the bio, inshallah. But yeah, jazakallah khair for watching. And until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.